Hello, Linda Turgeson with LTLTE, Learn to Love to Exercise. Today we are going to do some foam rolling. Foam rolling is so awesome to end your workout with. My favorite foam rolling exercise is I put this in the middle of my mat if I'm on a mat, or just an open area at the gym or at home, and then I sit at the very edge of the foam roll and I lie back and I make sure that I got my whole head on the foam roll, that my head is not hanging off, and my feet are about shoulder width distance flat on the floor, and then I place my arms down alongside me, and then I'm going to do snow angels. I'm going to slowly move my arms up, and they're not going to go all the way up because I'm tight, and coming back and just moving very slowly through this exercise, especially after you've done like shoulder work and chest work at the gym. This is a very good after workout. So moving slowly and then trying to keep the forearms and the elbows on the floor, and then just moving up as much as you can. This is, you'll feel this. Most people have some tightness in the chest and in the armpit area. I especially feel it there. So that's the snow angels, and I always do that. And then after I've done that, I roll slowly to one side of the foam roll and then slowly roll back. And any exercise on the foam roll, just move very, very slowly. Very, very slowly. And if you find a spot where there's some pain, then just kind of stop there and just barely move the foam roll back and forth into that knot or spot that you have. So I always do this foam rolling exercise every time after I finish my workouts. And then just come up slowly. You could use your hands to get up. And then next, I'm gonna do my, I guess maybe second favorite that I always do, is I place the foam roller behind my legs and move it down to the calves. And then I lift up on my hands and I roll the calves back and forth, again very slowly. I like to flex my feet here, pointing the toes towards me. You can also come down onto your forearms and lift up and roll back and forth. And to make this a little bit more challenging, you can place one leg on top of the other, crisscross, and then roll back and forth. And if you find a spot, you can just simply kind of wait there and just barely move the foam roller. And it's almost like getting a little massage using the foam roller. And if you don't have one of these at home, I would suggest investing in one. You can buy them online at Amazon. They're not very expensive. And I would get the full length one so that you can actually lie back on it. All right, so that's the hamstring. And then I simply move the foam roller up on, that was the calves. Move it up underneath my hamstring, the back of my thigh. Come maybe up to my fingertips, and again slowly roll back and forth on the hamstrings. And again, if you find a spot where there's pain, just kind of stop and work into that area, and then barely move it. So that's the hamstring. Then I go straight from there to the butt or the glutes, and I sit on the foam roll. And I really like this exercise too, because we end up sitting so much. So this is a nice way to kind of rub out the glutes. So I do this, and What you can also do here to make it more challenging is cross one leg over the other and then maybe lean a little bit over to the side and focus more on one glute at a time, right? And then do the opposite cross and focus on one glute at a time. So that's the glutes. And then from there, I move it on up. So I start at the calves, right? And move up to the hamstrings and to the glutes and then to the lower back and upper back. And just roll here. So you can do the lower back and come up on your hands and roll the lower back. And then move it on up to like the middle back and then to the upper back. Here I like to cross my arms and cradle my head in my arms and then do the mid and upper back. On the upper back, I always have a lot of knots and tension in my upper back. So again, I go very slow. I kind of hold it if I feel there's a spot that needs extra attention. And I move it slowly. And I may come over more to one side, lifting up on the shoulder on the one side of the body and really focusing on the one side. And again, going slowly and then lifting up opposite side and focusing there. And then from there, we can move straight into the tricep and kind of the side of the body. So again, move the foam roll down and focus a little bit on the side here and roll it slowly, move it up. So it's kind of in the armpit and then roll it there. And some of this may hurt a little bit, but just do very little and just do very slowly before you move on. And then the tricep area and right by the armpit is always very tender for me. And you don't need to roll it a lot. You can really use it to kind of press on into the area where you have some tension. So that's the tricep and the side body. And then from there, we can move on into and do the front of the body, do the chest. So placing it on the chest and just barely rolling, but almost like pressing it more in to the chest. So doing the rolling here. And you may not have to do all areas each time you work out, but like if you're working the quads and the calves, then be sure to focus on those areas. So like now I'm going to do my quads, the front of my legs. So if I work those out today, then I would spend more time on being on the foam roll around the quads. So then I just come down to my forearms and lift up my legs, bending at the knees, and then just slowly rolling back and forth on the quads. And you can kind of come over to the side a little bit. The quad is such a big muscle. And then focus on one side and coming all the way down to like the knee. And you can just do a little bit at a time. And then coming up. And you may want to work like the lower part of your quad first. And then move up to the upper part of your quad. But the foam roller is great investment for home. And if you do running, if you do a lot of walking, it's also good. And like I said, it's kind of like giving yourself a little massage at home. So go ahead and give those exercises a try and get yourself a foam roller and let me know how you like it.